It's insanity to call a loss to an 8-win team a bad loss, right?
We're both 10-2, and we had the opportunity to play each other, and we won the game.
It's quite simply that Miami beat Notre Dame.
If it's 35-10, why would they deserve to be in over Miami?
They did not profile like a 10-win team. They profile like 7-win type teams. I can't wait to let 18 to 22-year-olds emotionally ruin me.
I made a call, to Vegas. I said, look, we actually need the paper here.
What's going on, everyone? Bear Bets Podcast is back. Conference Championship Weekend edition, but more importantly, I think, and urgently, and more on the minds of a lot of people in the college football world, college football playoff selection weekend. Miami head coach Mario Cristobal will join us shortly. And guys, your reaction before I give you my soliloquy on the college football playoff rankings?
I think if we're looking for it to make sense by what they tell us, it's never going to make sense, right? These are, 12? I think there's 12 now, right, Bear? Maybe 11 because a couple dropped off, of different voices in that room, different opinions, how this should go. We're hearing things we've never heard before. Eye test, we never really heard that, even though we've assumed.
Quality losses.
Like we've heard, every year we hear new things. And look, I think it's as simple as they don't really know what they're doing every year. They make it up as they go. And we might end up getting to where we need to be, which is mostly how it works, Sammy, by the end of this whole process. Even though it's a little misguided, it feels like, and we don't really take into consideration things that us three might think are important or the public does. But I think we'll eventually get to where we're supposed to be after this weekend.
What's wild is you look at those 5 teams on top, in the rankings. If we had a 4-team playoff, this is the easiest 4-team field maybe of all time with those 4 right there. Ohio State, Indiana, Georgia, and Tech. Assuming Ohio State, Indiana play a close game, those 4 would be a great playoff. But we're at 12, and some people want 16 and 24 and 32. And
can you imagine having 24 teams that are arguing about like a 7-5 Big 10 team versus an 8-4 Big 12 team? More doesn't make this better. Let's just get it right. And the number one problem is we all see it, and I'll let Bear do his whole Miami thing in a second. It's quite simply that Miami beat Notre Dame. It's that easy, right? They beat them. Yes. Would Notre Dame be a favorite now? Yes.
They were that night.
Would I pick Notre Dame to maybe win the game tomorrow? Maybe I would. But the fact is, if you do not consider head-to-head to be of any value, what's the point of playing any of these games?
Yeah, well, the problem is, Bear, the AP, the coaches, the college football power rankings, and Vegas all say Notre Dame is better. That's the problem. Everybody says Notre Dame is better.
And it amazes me how as an AP pollster or the college football playoff committee, how it's become normalized. Like it's just 50 of the 66 AP voters have Notre Dame ahead of Miami just based on this narrative that's been thrown out there by Notre Dame that, we're better now, we would win. People seem to forget that Miami would be better now too. Malachi Toney was playing his first college game, and he's one of the best all-around players on offensive weapons in college football right now. Gerard Pringle is now their go-to running back. He didn't play it down in that game. The defense had 8 new starters, and you had a defensive coordinator in his first game at Miami. So, Miami is better now too. And I don't get how this has kind of become normalized. I think Miami's biggest crime here is when they lost. They lost to SMU on the road in overtime. And Greg McElroy has brought up in the selection show, and his shows about how Miami had a personal foul penalty on a dead ball foul that probably shouldn't have been called.
Correct.
It's all this stuff. I just don't get how all those coaches in there, how it hasn't ultimately mattered. Team A beat Team B. Team A belongs in. So
if BYU loses, which is presumably going to happen again, you think Miami's in, correct?
I do.
Because I just looked today. There's a plus 430 out there right now on Miami to make the playoff.
I would make that bet many, many times. I've seen this before.
Or you have made it many times.
I have. If you go back, people like to talk about the betting odds when it comes to this, about how Notre Dame's a massive favorite to be in. Go back to the Sunday morning 2023. Florida State was a massive favorite to be in the field. Alabama was a big underdog to get in the field. That was the year ultimately Florida State got left out. I don't think the odds makers' algorithms can really account for a human decision with two teams that aren't playing. It doesn't equate, it doesn't factor in that it's going to kind of be affected by the result of the SEC championship game and the result of the Big Ten game. I think the number is way off, and I've bet that many times.
Is it worth taking Alabama to have a bye if you can find that market? If they beat Georgia, are they going all the way up to 4?
I think they could.
If they get smoked, though, they might be out.
It
is wild, though. We've been talking about Miami and Notre Dame for 4 weeks. The real travesty is that Alabama barely beat Auburn and leapt everybody. That's the problem.
But it's a quality SEC win, Sammy. Every game is a tough one here in the SEC every week.
All right, continuing our discussion here on the college football playoff, that's consuming our sport right now, obviously, as it should be. Alabama, Oklahoma Bear. They moved Alabama up multiple spots after surviving against Auburn here. They obviously have a head-to-head matchup, but this is the thing where, like, the eye test, I think Bama's better. Oklahoma's offense is just not good enough to be really a playoff contender in my mind. Obviously, they're going to make the playoff most likely here, Bear. Yeah. But how do you feel about Alabama and Oklahoma right now?
And that's the one thing when you talk about the head-to-head, how all of these head-to-heads are like this, like transitive property of Ole Miss, who beat Oklahoma, who beat Alabama. That's being honored, and you've seen that every week.
Well, the SEC's better. That's why.
Yeah. And you've gotten the 3-loss Texas team who beat a 2-loss Vandy. I think Texas is better than Vandy. I think they should be ahead of them. I don't have an issue with it, but all of that's being honored. But Miami, Notre Dame isn't yet. The interesting thing with Alabama this week is if they lose, what happens? I guess it ultimately depends how they lose. I don't think the committee would drop them out. I think the fact that they moved them up the one spot this week gives them that little bit of a wiggle room to say we're not going to drop them all the way out. But we were just talking about, and I joked with Mario, and then in the interview, and I said, Alabama's got the worst loss amongst any of these teams. Losing to Florida State, opening game of the year, really wasn't competitive for the most part. Miami went up there, beat them. Like, does a third loss here, despite it being in a conference championship game, which should be considered a free roll, would you be a little uneasy if you were Alabama on Sunday morning?
If they get blown out, yes. If it's 35-10, why do we need to see them in the playoff? Why would they deserve to be in over Miami?
So that's the question, right? It basically would end up being if the chalk holds to the top, right? Essentially, right? So Tech wins, right? Then it would be basically you'd have Alabama out and you put Miami, Notre Dame both in, right? That would end up being if Alabama loses by a lot.
And Sammy, I think I don't know what your power ratings have. If you look at Sagarin, FPI, SP+, they have both Miami and Notre Dame power rated higher than Alabama.
Oh, well, I definitely have Notre Dame higher than Bama. I've got Miami 1 point higher than Bama. So.
And I think we're like that I think is a lot of Miami fans are kind of saying that, why are these SEC things being held to a gold standard and a gospel? Like, why is 2025 Oklahoma any different than 2024 Miami? If you look at last year with Miami, with Cam Ward, a historic offense, 10-2, didn't make the conference championship game. Defense was terrible.
Yeah.
Oklahoma offense is terrible. Great defense, 10-2, no conference championship game. Are they? Now, look, I know Oklahoma has better wins than Miami. That's ultimately the reason why. But, like, why is this whole – and I kind of hit on it with Mario as well. Like losing to Louisville and losing to SMU are seen as terrible losses. SMU is power rated in the Sagarin computer. They're better than Tennessee. They're better than LSU. Yeah. They're better than Auburn. Hunter Yurachek was like, oh, Alabama, big win at Auburn. Better than South Carolina. Those teams aren't power rated as high as SMU, who Miami lost to. Like that's that disconnect, that double standard, I think, is really what has a lot of people really irate in South Florida.
as someone who was a fan of a conference that has now been deceased, but that never got the respect it deserves, this is what I've dealt with as a West Coast football fan forever, right? Where the SEC is seen as the conference that is better than everything else. And they might be top to bottom better. Maybe the top is better than the rest. But right now, the Big Ten, obviously, at the top is very good. And so when they lose, it's looked at as a great thing for them. We lost, but out west, whenever a Pac-12 team lost, it was like that, like after dark, that happens. They eat each other alive. Terrible for them. And for that SEC, it's never really mattered, Bear. And look, I don't know how fair it is to put this on something like ESPN, but they control a lot of the narrative when it comes to this discussion. They are partners with the SEC. They're partners of the college football playoff. And when game day happens this weekend, or when they're talking about this, it airs on ESPN, they tend to skew more toward giving the SEC credit for these losses or wins than they do for the ACC or for the Big Ten or for the old Pac-12. And that does matter in the overall discussion about college football.
And all of that, what's the word they're using in our Instagram comments? All of that glazing.
There you go.
For the SEC. You guys don't know ball. All that glazing creates an opportunity. Have we talked about this out loud yet? Alabama's 9-1 to miss the playoff. Because they're minus 18 to make because of everything that you're talking about makes Alabama minus 1,800, which gives us 9-1 to miss.
I mean, also too, is Alabama really moving up from 9 to 4?
That's the other question.
Like, I love where Oregon's at 5. Like, I would certainly take a home playoff game against JMU. Sign me up for that. Like, I'm okay staying at 5. Absolutely fine with that. Like, I would love that. I'd fly to Eugene, watch us win a game, and like have a ton of fun with all the Oregon fans. I would love that more than nothing else. That would be fantastic. But like going up to you're moving up above 11-1 teams.
But you would have two wins over Georgia. You would be the SEC champion.
Are you knocking Georgia back to what? You're knocking them back to 8 essentially?
No, I don't think they'd fall that low.
So does Bama go to 5 if they win? No, they have to, and then Tech and Georgia. I know it's fascinating.
I think they're going to go 5 at minimum.
Wow.
Yeah. If Bama were to win, I think they go up quite a bit, and I think there'll be like that maybe Oregon, maybe the Big Ten winds up getting three buys.
I know this sounds. I know you always want to buy, like that's what you would certainly strive for. But I would love to have Oregon have a home game though. Like I just personally would love to be. I know you put the tweet out earlier this week. Like, what's Oregon JMU 19?
Oh, higher.
And look, I understand the automatic qualifiers, right? Like you want to have everyone represented. You want everyone to feel like they matter, right? The American Conference game this week, right? Matters, right? It matters who wins the game between North Texas and Tulane. It matters if JMU wins this weekend. But to have a playoff where 11 and 12 are North Texas and JMU feels like not really the point of the playoff. Like the point's to find a champion, and you're giving the 5 and 6 seed essentially a free roll while you have A&M play Notre Dame, like again, like the way it would look.
Third time in 13 months or whatever.
The way it would look that Oklahoma has to play Alabama.
Again.
And again, like I'm fine with Oregon hosting JMU. Sounds great. But it just feels like not the purpose of this. And look, that would happen, of course, if Duke were to upset Virginia, because Duke's not getting in. Now, if Duke wins, Bear, does this prompt an even better chance Miami gets in because they don't want to leave out an ACC?
I think it does.
Because if Duke wins, they're not in the playoff, obviously. And that'd be no ACC team would be in unless Miami hops over.
I think that would help be another little impetus to kind of subliminally to like we can't leave one of the power leagues out.
I've thought about that too. In that ACC game, the line's only 3.5.
Yep, and they dominated in the first game too.
It's only 3.5.
We're not betting Duke though.
No.
No.
Don't answer.
No, don't do it.
Unplug it.
Don't do it.
Doesn't the ACC want Virginia to win?
Yes.
Are we missing the bet? Or should we just bet Virginia?
I don't think they make calls like that, but certainly possible.
Right, but come on. Does the ACC want Duke to win?
By the way, every year this game, by the way, in Charlotte just happens on the weekend where like the worst weather imaginable happens in Charlotte.
Be bad again?
It's supposed to be really bad Friday, like almost snowing Friday. And I think Saturday's going to be a tad warmer Saturday night, but like we always, for every weekend, it's supposed to be Saturday, low of 32 in Charlotte. Friday, high of 32 tomorrow in Charlotte. So this game always has like weird weather in the ACC.
I want to circle back to two things that you said, Geoff. Number one, with the automatic qualifiers. And I've taken a lot of shit from people.
You on the internet?
Yeah,
Never.
imagine that. I'm actually being opinionated.
I do love this version of Bear where it's like he puts aside like the professionalism and the respect that he typically, does on social media for pure Miami.
Yeah,
like I love it.
I'm a little more, look, I am fully guilty as charged. I'm a little more invested in this because
of course
it's
you
my
are.
alma mater. But B, it's wrong. It's wrong what's going on. And go tell me in the comments on Twitter and Instagram how wrong I am and that Miami or Notre Dame.
Even Bruce cussed.
Dude, that was the best. When I had to like double check that wasn't like Bruce Feldman with like two N's at the end.
Oh, he got hacked.
That was beautiful.
Or it was like a DM he meant to send to Kevin, but like,
exactly.
But he didn't.
That was
like a Ray Allen situation?
Yeah. Not as bad.
No, definitely not.
But the automatic qualifiers is how it was what we were going here. It's not the NCAA basketball tournament. You're not going to have VCU where they have an opportunity to make a run in college football. Basketball, five on five at a time. Group of five now, the rosters have been pillaged by the portal and NIL. All of the good players on these G5 teams are getting bought and paid for and transferring to the P4. The gap between the two is enormous now. Like there should... I'm not talking about like Boise last year, who was legit good, or TCU, which was legit good, that won the Rose Bowl, or Cincinnati the year they made the college, or UCF. Like those were legit top 10 type teams. There should be some type of threshold that these guys have to reach in order to get it. It can't just be like, oh, you're TCU,
because
Texas.
Boise was like a top 12 team all last season.
Like, well, all because JMU is the highest ranked group of five team, or North Texas or Tulane, and they're ranked 23rd. That means they're going to get in. Like they're going to be a 24-point dog. Tulane already lost by 30 or whatever it was to Ole Miss this year. Want to see that again?
No, we don't. And also too, it's worth mentioning like their coaches are leaving. And I'm not saying they won't be focused for the playoffs, but for like 2 weeks, they're going to be doing their new duties, right? All three coaches there. Chesney's the only one that hasn't been officially announced as the head coach of UCLA, but we all assume that he's going to UCLA. So for a couple of weeks, they're going to be doing other duties. The players are going to be looking potentially to find new homes during this time, right? They're going to be worried about where they're going to portal out afterwards. You mentioned the UCF win and sort of there's a difference between a playoff game and a bowl game in the preparation of the team they're playing. And I know
absolutely.
And I know people point to those matchups and say that, UCF won against, I think it was Auburn that year.
Oh, yeah.
But typically we've seen the loser of a conference championship game loses the bowl game too. Now this is before portal, like before the teams just like left. They're just depressed. They just don't win the game, right? And so when now it's a playoff game where you have the full undivided attention of a top 6 team in the country, it's going to be a different result for years and years because of that. You're not going to find that situation. Like Boise had the best chance last year because they had a generational player, which you never really get at these schools, and it wasn't even close last season. So, look, I get it. I get it. I get what we're doing. I get the intention of wanting to include everyone, Bear. And the ACC, to be fair, maybe you say don't deserve to be in. But then again, Miami deserves to be in. And we have these giant conferences. You get these results in these title games where you don't maybe have your best teams playing.
And think about this. There's a world where Virginia gets in and Notre Dame does not. That's possible.
What are we doing? Yeah. Yes.
Notre Dame would be favored by 2 touchdowns against Virginia.
What would Virginia at Oregon be?
Give me 10 seconds, Doctor. I can get it.
As of right now, Virginia would actually Virginia would probably be at Oregon.
And Virginia is a team that made the ACC
it beat Ole Miss. They beat Ole Miss.
And Virginia is a team that has not played any of the top 5 teams behind them in the ACC standings. And then, like, we've got the conferences now, due to the realignment and conferences getting destroyed, that are bigger than the AFC and the NFC. And those conferences in the NFL, they have 3 rounds of playoffs to determine just who the best team in the conference is.
So,
answer.
Oregon and Virginia would be
19?
15. Well, 15 neutral. 19.
What do you have? Because it would probably be like, as they stand now, Virginia would be the 11th seed playing the 6th seed at Ole Miss.
And I'm happy for Virginia. I got friends that went there and played there. We don't need to see Virginia in the playoff. Like, we don't need it.
We don't need to see Duke either, which they won't make it as well.
Duke will make it. And the other thing, I'm gonna put on my, I guess, former ESPN employee hat just to combat a little bit.
Yeah.
What you we have the playoff. The whole ESPN is propping up the SEC narrative. Like it, there's no memo. There was never any narrative. You think ESPN doesn't want Ohio State and Michigan and USC and Notre Dame like in the playoff? They would love for those brands to be in the playoff. You think they'd rather have like Ole Miss in the playoff? Maybe that's a bad example this year because people are going to want to see how they do without Lane Kiffin. But like Oklahoma over Notre Dame or Miami, you kidding me?
Well, what does Jimmy Sexton wants? We asked what Jimmy Sexton wants because
does Jimmy have an in on the committee?
I don't know. He might.
But yeah, there's no one at ESPN on the committee, involved in the committee in that room, saying, "Oh, in the corner of the room, yeah, you might want to reassess your." It doesn't happen. So, in defense of my former employer, they take a lot of heat every year about this. There's no like chicanery going on.
What about the way they handled the Lane Kiffin thing? That was a little bad.
That was odd. Like, that felt weird.
It was a weird way to cover that situation when you learn that they're talking behind the scenes, like giving Lane Kiffin advice. Right. I find that very fascinating about how that whole went down.
Did they really thought that Ole Miss was going to allow him to coach?
I actually think if Lane Kiffin did it the way that Morris did it, the way that Summerall did it, the way that Chesney has done it, just quietly, you take the new job and maybe you didn't burn your bridges on the way out. You didn't have 2 weeks of posting on the internet every day with weird quotes and stuff like that. Maybe Bear, they would have said, you can do it. But the way he left, there's zero chance it was going to happen. And so for him to think that and then for them to go on air and sort of, and they know, like Nick Saban knows better. He threw Lane out of Alabama when he took the FAU job for not being focused enough. Now all of a sudden he wants to do the Ole Miss thing. So, all right, enough complaining about coverage of college football.
People care about this though.
They do, Bear, but they do care about the Heisman as well. And we talked about Ohio State, Indiana already. To finish that discussion before we get to the rest of the conference championship games about the Heisman, I think there's no way Julian Sayin wins. I think he doesn't have one moment right now that's a Heisman moment. And I'm not saying you have to only have those moments to win. Mendoza has it. He has Penn State, right? Like he said, other moments this season. I think it's Mendoza's to win this weekend, but Diego Pavia, Sammy, is probably going to win the Heisman.
So we talked about this on Bet Sweats. I asked Joe O. I just said of the three top guys, of Sayin, Mendoza, Pavia, just from a personality standpoint, who's the biggest personality? Who clicks the most?
Pavia.
Who's the sexy name? It's Pavia. Diego Pavia, not Mrs. Pavia, by the way.
Or the brothers Pavia.
You brought this up on Monday, I believe. I don't know if it was on the air or off the air. You said that he's the only guy with SEC representation. It all comes back to the SEC, doesn't it?
SEC, ESPN, FOX. Right?
Everybody in the South is going to vote for Pavia. Yep. And everybody in the Midwest has to decide between Mendoza, Sayin, and, oh, by the way, Jeremiah Love. The money is speaking volumes. He was 6-1 Monday morning. Now he's plus 150, plus 160, Pavia.
Did I do that?
You did it all?
No, I didn't do it all. But yeah, no.
Sammy can't wait for the celebration with his family.
Oh my God. Can you imagine that party with the mom and the kids and Theo Vaughn?
You're right. Like he is if you want to truly say the MVP of college football, like I don't know, that's why the Heisman terminology is so vague. The most outstanding player, like outstanding, can be phrased and determined and interpreted in so many different ways. But you take Diego Pavia off that team, like how many games they winning?
And voters fall for the story. This kid was playing at the New Mexico Military Institute, and he just took Vandy to 10 wins.
I watched Vandy's film of their offensive line for Joe Moore Award, and it's a lot of Diego Pavia. Like it's him making plays. I don't even know what their offense is. Like I couldn't tell you like what they do other than Pavia just doing stuff for them. Like they don't have a core concept really very often. It's Pavia making a lot of plays for them. How about Vanderbilt trying to schedule a 13th game this week? That's silly, right? Like that's propaganda. Like that's not a thing they were actually going to do.
Right. Yeah. We were going to schedule Hawaii on a short week.
What's playing Hawaii going to do?
Whomever. Nothing.
It would have been funny if it would have. I would have rooted for the other team though. Absolutely.
have it backfire. But yeah, the regional aspect of the Heisman voting and the fact that he's going to carry the SEC country and possibly the West Coast because he played in New Mexico State. That popped into my head, and I'm like, you know what? I think I've just talked myself into a bet here. Start of the year with the head coach of the Miami Hurricanes, Mario Cristobal. Ending the year with head coach of the Miami Hurricanes, Mario Cristobal, as we head towards championship weekend, and so much to really to discuss about the college football playoff race, with their standing in it, who's going to get in, who's going to be left out. But the most important question I have for you right now, Coach, is how many cafecitos this week so far?
Ooh, alone today, I think we're on number 3. It's been a long day with signing day, all the other stuff's going on, getting our players ready for our opportunity coming up now. You name it, never stops. And really now you're already on 27. You've been on the class of 27, and you never know which guy's going to reclassify. So it never, ever stops. I did get the staff out of here so they could go see their families before their wives just hate me forever. But no, it's been, and it's awesome, man. This is, I love this time of year, and we're ready.
I guess before we talk about anything else, the obvious question is just, if you're looking at Miami, where they are now in the playoff rankings, and if you're looking at Notre Dame, whose rallying cry is, oh, well, we lost close games to 2 top 10 teams. And that's their biggest rallying cry. And then the whole, well, we're better now. It's probably true that they're better now, but people seem to conveniently forget that Miami is better now too. Yeah, go into detail about how better Miami is right now from when they took the field opening night in August as well.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you look at the metrics of our last 4 weeks, and everything is either 1, 2, 3, 5, 7. Nothing's out of the top 10 as it relates to offense, defense, and special teams. We're actually playing better football now than when we were ranked number 2 and had the opportunity to play and beat Notre Dame. So, which again is it's a testament to our players. It's a testament to getting healthy as well. Again, we certainly were down about 6 or 7 guys, but again, just hard work continuing to pay off, and we love living in the reality of playing games, especially in head-to-head opportunities and settling things on the field.
What have you seen most from your offense these last 4 weeks? It's been really efficient. You run the ball well. I think Beck's playing good. What have you seen sort of improvements in the last month?
Without a doubt, we're hitting on all cylinders right now. I think the surge of Malachi Toney, complemented by the other freshman wide receivers, both in Josh Moore, in the backfield with Gerard Pringle, with Dalen Upshaw, and then the veterans like Keelan Marion. Keelan is really playing at a high level for us. Alex Bauman, Elijah Lofton playing at a high level. And our offensive line, man, they're giving Carson a lot of time. And Carson, his numbers for the past 4 weeks are off the charts. I mean, he had 1 interception last week, but I think it's 13-1 or something of that nature, touchdowns, interceptions. His completion percentage, his efficiency, his deep throw percentage, the way he's connecting and putting us in the right plays, getting the balls to the right guy. He's playing at an elite level, and again, he's just getting started. Our best football is ahead of us now.
Last time I checked, Coach, you guys beat Notre Dame in August, right? Why does that result in August not matter more to the committee?
Well, I think at the end of the day, I think it will. I'm confident that I think it will continue to be seen because it's reality, like you mentioned. I mean, at the end of the day, we're both 10-2, right? And we had the opportunity to play each other, and we won the game. Okay? And up front, our trenches performed in an outstanding manner. Certainly our defensive line had a record performance, especially from as it relates to a PFF, offensive line grading standpoint. Their line against our defensive line, which shows high-level trench play and trench domination. We were able to hold one of their great players in Jeremiah Love. I know he averages 100+ yards against the opponent. We held him to 30 yards, and I think, again, I say that to credit our guys, not to put down another opponent. I don't believe in that stuff there, but the metrics are identical, and we played 4 common opponents, of which we did a better job against those opponents, minus the one situation with Syracuse. Obviously, they had the lacrosse player take over at quarterback. But we did a better job. We did a better job against the other 3 opponents, and it goes back to, guys, we played the game. they actually moved that game to Sunday so that 10.8 million people, that equals 21.6 million eyeballs, actually, but so that everyone could see it, plus 70,000 in the stadium. And I was talking earlier to, a couple of our staff members, and the truth of the matter is, football's never been about hypotheticals. And I'm honored to be on your show, but I honestly, the way that I was raised, the ways we've all been raised in football, the integrity of the game, I wouldn't even bother coming on your show had we both been 10-2 and we were on the losing side of the head-to-head, because again, the winner needs to be rewarded. The winner is best and most deserving. And so that's why we respectfully approach all the details and all the data to be able to, again, put our best foot forward and let the reality and the facts take care of themselves.
This time of year, we tend to hear from people saying that these tough non-conference games are going to go away because the results of the standings don't reflect the games potentially. But you guys have never shied away from scheduling tough. You have A&M, obviously. You have Notre Dame next couple of years. What is it about these games that are important for you guys to play every year?
I mean, that's what when I played at Miami, that's what it was all about, right? You want to play imagine eliminating big games because big game results don't matter when you win. Imagine that concept is like crazy. I feel like I'm on. You sure this is not MTV Punk, like the old show that, like,
where's the camera?
Yeah, it's, no, to me, those games are critically important for football. It's how we raise, our players, how they're raised to play the game. You play the game to win, and you play to find out who the best team is. You don't, what? Again, if the records were similar, in this situation, I know I'm kind of deviating here. I just kind of got stuck with something. If records are similar and you didn't have the ability to compare anything except data points and whatnot, I understand that. But you're always hopeful that you could have a head-to-head matchup so you could truly decide who is best and most deserving. And if you eliminate these big games, you're putting a dent in everything that college football was ever created for. You always want to have the best teams playing these marquee matchups, and for the fans, for the game, for the pageantry, for the history of college football. Let's not ever change that. Let's place the value where it needs to be placed on winning football games.
You mentioned the data points and talking to your staff and obviously win the game. Could you imagine being on the committee as a coach, and there are a ton of former coaches on that committee, where you've got a situation where Team A and Team B are identical in terms of one-loss record. Team A beat Team B, and you, in good conscience, saying, Team B, they passed the eye test because they beat Team A. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So I get the argument about all of these metrics where if you didn't have that data point where Miami and Notre Dame played, and maybe you're comparing Notre Dame to Oklahoma, who is another 10-2 team, or Alabama, who's another 10-2 team, and you want to compare losses and all those other stuff, but you've got the ultimate eye test. I just don't know how, as a coach, you can be on that committee and not have that ultimately rule the day.
Yes, sir. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I think in the history of the CFP, never have two teams with identical records that had a chance to play each other. Never have they had the loser advance and the winner stayed behind. So I think as all these data pieces come to light, I think it's going to speak volumes of our current situation. Not to mention, you look at all the teams that have similar metrics, not nearly as identical as ours and Notre Dame's, but these other teams that have similar metrics where there has been a head-to-head competition, the winner has been rewarded with being ranked higher. So I think it's a matter of respectfully continuing to provide, bring to light any and all information, because again, we love football, man. There ain't nothing like college football in the world, but for all the right reasons, we're presenting all this stuff, and for the integrity of the sport and the reason it was created, winning and losing, this is certainly really important to get it right.
Coach, I'm sure you're not too concerned about the NFL draft right now, but the betting market says that Ruben has a really good shot to go 1. And I don't know that you think about this, but if you go Cam and Ruben back-to-back number 1, how insane would that be, man?
It's awesome, man. He's part of the first class that we signed when we got here, the first full cycle. Because when we walked in the door, we went outside for practice. We're like, oh my God, we're in trouble. We had to get to work, and Ruben was part of that first full class, that first full cycle. Francis, has got a chance to be a first. There's a couple other guys as well. It speaks volumes of the direction of the program, how we're progressing. I mean, done a good job winning, 20 of our last 24. The ones that we haven't, we're down to a possession. So we're really we're gaining a lot of steam, man. We're gaining a lot of steam. We're playing our best football now. We've signed our best 3 classes in the history of the program. So sky's the limit. And I'm an alum, man. I actually wore the pads, wore the helmet here. So I live and die to be a Miami Hurricane. So this is it's a really exciting time.
Let's talk about this schedule, right? So yesterday was National Signing Day for 2026. You have a possible playoff appearance coming up in a couple of weeks. The transfer portal opens up in the new year. How do you manage all these different things that are part of your job now, all happening within about 4 weeks?
Oh, it's you just cancel Christmas and New Year's. There you go. You got it. The hate factor by the family towards you around goes through the roof, and just say, sorry, we got to do. Yeah, the calendar certainly is a challenge. And, man, that's probably the hardest part as a head coach, is because as a head coach, look, man, you can't tell everyone else to do their job and fill their role, and then you not multitask and handle whatever comes your way. If it's 20-hour days, it comes with it. It is what it is. You just feel for, man, how do you make this thing so that the enthusiasm and energy stays high, so that we continue to progress, but you also do right by all the people. And it's a lot. It's a lot. And there's no handbook. It's never been like this. And all I can say is, I don't know. And if you have all the answers, please send them to me. I'd love to be able to apply them.
Talk to me in April, family. We'll get back to you in the spring once all this ends. What do you say to people out there? You talk about, oh, but they lost to SMU and they lost to Louisville. Like, what do you say to people who say losing a game to Louisville, which won eight games, and losing a conference road game in overtime at SMU, who won 8 games? What do you say to those people? Those are bad losses. It's insanity to call a loss to an 8-win team a bad loss, right?
No doubt. I mean, a bad loss, I think, would be a sub 500 team, right?
Like Alabama losing to Florida State, maybe, or something like that.
Well, I wouldn't bring any names into it. I really don't. I guess
that's me. That's on me.
Bear will do that.
I'll do that for you.
Bear's been tweeting about you for 2 weeks. Bear's got your back.
I've always want to be respectful as it relates to that. But again, at the end of the day, it's our losses were to 2 teams that were in the CFP top 25 and top 20, and were rolling before they had their significant injuries too. At least one of them. And at the end of the day, it's 10-2 with a head-to-head and common opponents. I mean, that's about as overwhelmingly clear and honest and transparent as you could get. So I wouldn't make up anything. I wouldn't change the facts. I would continue to present the facts and continue to encourage people to just digest the facts. Same record, common opponents, better by Miami, head-to-head, certainly settled on the field, which is what college football is all about. And the bottom line is we are playing better football now than we were when we played that game. So I think it all bodes really well for the University of Miami Hurricanes.
And I think the momentum is building in the public specter of trying to figure out what the heck is really going on here and why has this head-to-head not come into play yet. And we'll see ultimately if it does on Sunday. I think there is a very good chance if BYU were to lose that Miami will get into the college football playoff. And like I said, we began the year talking to you before a win over Notre Dame, and hopefully for Miami, the program and all the fans out there, it can finish the season, I guess, in a de facto win over Notre Dame for that race for the final college playoffs. But Mario Cristobal, thank you for joining us in a busy, chaotic, hectic week, and hopefully we'll get a chance to connect again down the road in the college football playoff, if indeed that happens.
Thank you.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me, and always go Canes.
Let's start previewing conference title games with the one in the Big Ten. It's our Super Six, sponsored by DraftKings. Bear and I both have columns out this week. Who will win between Indiana and Ohio State? Bear the number right now, 4.5 for Ohio State. It's come down a little bit too. Total 47.5 here. I'll go with you first here. I guess just overall outcome of the game before we get into the numbers.
Well, as someone who bet Ohio State a couple of weeks ago at -3.5 on the look-ahead line, expecting this thing to run up to 6.5, and maybe get an opportunity. I mean, I guess it did hit that number in a couple of spots. I missed it. I bet the Buckeyes back then. I would bet the Buckeyes now. I have one concern,
yes,
a combination of one concern with Ohio State, but ultimately I think it's mitigated by the leadership they have on that team. Your Ohio State, your entire season has been about beating Michigan, the pressure of beating Michigan, the exhale of Ryan Day and that program by finally going on the road last week and beating Michigan. You know you're the reigning national champion. You've got the playoff coming up. Your focus now is on repeating. Now you got this little Big Ten championship game against Indiana where if you know you're getting a bye either way, win or lose. And Indiana's never going to have an opportunity again to go 13-0, to win a Big Ten championship, to be the number 1 overall seed in the playoff, to be number 1 in the country. Like, the game means a whole lot more, I think, to Indiana. But I think Ohio State is better. I worry about Indiana's ability to run the ball against this defense. You look at a couple of their bigger games, the better defenses they played, they've really struggled running the ball.
Ohio State has made people money all season long. They are 11-1 against the number, against the opener.
Can't make them big enough.
They just win and cover. Same with Texas Tech. They're both 11-1 ATS. So to sit here and go, I don't like Ohio State, just feels dangerous. You know what I'm saying? And I think early in the week I was warming to the idea of an under. But what if Ohio State just scores 35 in this game? Indiana's going to get at least 14.
It's not what they do, though. Like, that's not what Ohio State has done this season offensively. Like, it's not their style of – now, can they do that? Certainly, but it's not really been their style of ball this year. Both teams play what I would essentially call the same type of game, right? They both want to be very controlling, take their time on offense, sort of just take the shots that are there, but they want to control line of scrimmage, and they're not looking to have these explosive plays all the time. We know Ohio State can obviously do it. So can Indiana. This is the best team both teams have played all season, which is important to note here as well. And, the Indiana side of this, you mentioned when they played Oregon and Iowa, Mendoza had about 215 yards in both games. That's probably not going to cut it in this game. So can Indiana's offense scale up a little bit more in this game? It's why I think we're going to see a very low-scoring early part of this game as they sort of figure each other out. This, obviously, the crowd's going to be probably more to Indiana's side.
I'm not sure. I think it's going to be a pretty even crowd. Ohio State fans are trying.
Well, they'll travel.
It's a quick drive.
They'd go if the game was in Guam, the Ohio State people.
But what you were saying, what differences from this year to last year do we see to make you believe that the result that we saw in Columbus last year is going to be any different from what we see here?
Just the quarterback play.
I think Indiana's better.
Well, Mendoza's better than Curtis Rourke.
Yeah, they're better as a team, I think, than last year. But you're right. And look, Julian Sayin is good, not great, I don't think, right? Like, the offense last year felt a little bit more explosive, and I don't know if Ohio State can do that quite the same way this season.
Yeah, it's been a relatively stress-free season. It's stress-free of a season for a reigning national championship that I can remember, and we'll see if that continues Saturday in Indy.
Are you going to make a bet in the SEC championship game, though, between Alabama and Georgia here?
I am potentially looking at a first half under.
Okay.
I haven't made the bet yet. I need to look and see what I'm guessing it's going to be. What? 23 based on a game total 47.5, probably 23 or so.
That's what Ohio State, Indiana is at.
And the reason I say that is the end of the Georgia-Alabama game, first meeting, after everyone went up and down the field first half, Georgia kind of figured them out in the second half. And Alabama had a lot of trouble scoring points and moving the ball. Alabama's offense has not looked good for a while. Ty Simpson has regressed. Has been sacked a lot, been turning the ball over a lot. Their offense has not looked good, but in the red zone, been able to finish off drives. Georgia's defense has improved. I don't know how many points they score, especially early when teams are maybe trying to feel themselves out. And on the flip side, Georgia doesn't have their center Drew Bobo in the game. And while the argument can be made that Georgia kind of just did the bare minimum to get by last week in Georgia Tech, they didn't. They had 250 yards in the game. They didn't look great. So without Bobo, can they block Keenan up front? I don't know. I think first half under is something I'm going to be looking at here in this game.
I'm going to have Georgia in some parlays for sure. Money line, though. I don't really want to lay 2.5. Like 21-20 would break me emotionally. I don't want to deal with that. You mentioned that first game, though, and I had Bama in the game.
Yes, you did.
It's a much better time. I had Carson Beck and Ty Simpson, Heisman. They were co-favorites. It's a much better time for your boy. But they shut the water off in the second half. And I needed Bama. I needed Simpson. And I was lucky to get out of there with a win. You give Kirby that whole film roll and give him more time to prepare. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going Kirby over DeBoer. I know you like DeBoer, but
their Georgia defense has just gotten a lot better. I think we're not giving them enough credit for how much better they've been here after that Alabama game. And look, I don't know how much to make of last week. They play well defensively, offensively, kind of a little bit of I don't know how much motivation they had for that game. Maybe knowing they might play in this game, but also just like you had a long SEC season. Now you're playing Georgia Tech. I don't know what it was, but defensively, Georgia's done a much better job, and they play, I think, a cleaner brand of football than Bama. There's less warts, there's less mistakes, there's less what ifs, right? Bama, there's a lot of like, can they run the football? Can they do this?
No,
Can they do
can't.
that? And so I think that Georgia is the right side here. I don't know if I'm going to put anything on this, and Georgia will win the SEC. And in a game, by the way, that they don't even, I think, want to be in.
They're probably so mad that they need to play this game. By the way, last 3 games against Ryan Williams, no catches. Auburn barely 3 for 45 against Oklahoma, 3 for 33 against LSU. Didn't have a catch against Missouri. Put him on the side of a milk carton.
where's he going next year?
Come on down. We've got a spot for you, Eugene.
Oregon?
Hey, man.
I'm sure Bear's going to say Miami.
Malik Benson went from basically a failed player to being a superstar.
Where was he a failed player?
Bama, Florida State. In
Interesting.
Oregon.
I still can't believe Florida State kept Mike Norvell. I can't.
I think what's happening with Penn State is, wait, did Crumble call? They were going to bring our food up here. I think.
How great was that?
I tried, guys. I
that
wasn't
was
paying
awesome.
$50 for cookies.
Great endorsement for the price of Crumble cookie. Penn State not having a coach as we speak right now is why when Jason got fired. I think I said, I don't know what you guys said. Like I don't know, man. Like, good coach. You sure you can get a better coach? And so far they have had no. I mean, everyone said no. Jeff Brom said no.
I have the list, right? They started with Urban, who was like, nah, I'm good. Urban, Elko, Signetti, Rule, Freeman, Drinkwitz, Lee. They wanted DeBoer. They were loving the possibility of Bama losing to Auburn and stealing DeBoer. Lincoln Riley, Sataki, Chesney, Brom.
What about Brent Key? He just got paid too. Did you think he was called by Penn State?
I don't have that name on my list, but the point is they tried for 10 guys and got none of them.
Not good, Bear. I lost some money on Sataki. I thought he was going to.
So I think they thought they had him done.
And then they realized, nationally, people realized BYU has more money than we could ever imagine.
I met that Crumble guy, by the way.
Yeah?
He popped by when Big Noon was out there. Brought us some cookies. It was very nice of him.
Well, they have a lot of money. And
Let me throw this out. Let me throw
yeah,
this out there,
yeah.
actually, though. If Alabama loses that SEC championship
Yeah.
game that we just talked about, and maybe it's by double digits or whatever, and they go 9-3 and they happen to not make the college football playoff, does Penn State maybe reach out and throw a soft landing spot to Kalen DeBoer?
100%.
Wait, do you think DeBoer is being fired?
No. I don't think he's being fired. I'm saying, you know how the community is going to be toxic down there.
But here's the thing. If DeBoer is out, who's taking the Bama job?
Lane. I'm kidding.
That'd
That's
be
a
great.
joke.
Like, Lanning's not going to do it. So who like, that's the thing. If you get rid of DeBoer, if you're sorry to get rid of DeBoer, today, who's taking this job?
I have no idea.
Brian
Sark.
Kelly? Like
Sark.
Sark? Brian Kelly? Like who? Like that
Not Brian Kelly.
Like, that's the problem. You've gone this far in the coaching cycle. Everyone has a seat. Everyone's filled up except Penn State. Now, DeBoer might leave. Certainly might happen. But who's taking the Alabama job?
Sark would be interesting.
Is there? Well, then who's taking the Texas job? Anyone? I mean, that'd be obviously a job people would
Right.
want. Lincoln Riley.
Oh,
Riley going to Alabama? That would not. That would, he'll bring us 30. He'll bring us 35 recruits with him to Alabama.
Alabama's soft now. Because
Speaking about BYU, Texas Tech, the Big 12 title game. Texas Tech favored by 12.5. Totals near 50 here. I don't know why this game is any different than the first one, Bear. I will say that in a rematch, that the team that lost has the upper hand schematically because they can just change what they did and hope it works. I don't know if that's going to matter in this game. And remember, also, too, Texas Tech, I think, had 6 trips inside of 30 in this game and did not score.
Bunch of short field goals.
This could get out of hand again, I feel like. I lean Texas Tech here. No wager on this game, but even a Texas Tech team total over Sammy feels like a play I might make.
I bet some Texas Tech this morning to win the whole thing. I know you don't want to hear that because we might get Tech and Oregon in the second game.
In the Cotton Bowl, I think.
That would be a tough path for Tech if they had to play Oregon and then beat Ohio State.
I think their defense is good, though. I think they're good enough to win a couple games, and then I can see, if there's opportunities.
The red zone offense is an actual concern. That's my concern with them.
Yeah. But if they can figure some of these things out, look, I don't think Ohio State should be plus 180 and Tech should be 12-1. That's all.
Correct. I would agree with that. I'm with Geoff. I have no idea what adjustments BYU can really make. I'm not sure if Chase Roberts, their best wide receiver, is going to play. He got hurt in the Cincinnati game with the hammy. Didn't play last week against UCF. I just don't know the how one-sided that first game was. Like you said, 29-7, and it could have been 42-7. I mean, it feels like Captain Obvious, and you always do have a little bit of hesitation anytime a team gets embarrassed in the first meeting. The thought process is they'll show up and look for revenge in the second meeting, but
I will tell you,
I don't see it here.
In rematches in the Pac-12 title game over the years, the team that won the first game wins the second game. Yes. Everyone thinks like there's like this like revenge, and it doesn't happen that way like ever.
And it's worth repeating again, Bear. Texas Tech, we have the graphic right there, 11-1. Also ATS. 11 covers. 11-1 ATS.
Yeah, money-making machine. And if you go back in these conference championship games, the 38 instances where you've had a double-digit favorite in a Power 5 conference game, 34-4. There have only been 4 double-digit dogs that have won outright. You got to go back 2005, Florida State over Virginia Tech, the last one. That was 26 games. So the last 26 double-digit favorites in Power 5 conference games have won. Oregon was 9.5.
Oregon,
9.5.
9.5.
They always let exactly. I knew you were coming.
Oregon lost it. I thought a 10-point favorite.
I'm still mad about that game, by the way.
Yeah, I'm mad too.
We had great Oregon futures. We had great Bo Nix futures. And you guys screwed it up.
They got Penixed twice.
Poor Washington fans. Oregon loses the first 3 games with Lanning to Washington by 3 points each, and now they're like, "Oh, Lanning's only 3. He's only 2-3 against Washington." I'm like, DeBoer ain't coming back. You ain't coming through that door, buddy. All right,
Jedi.
Moving along to the
Jedi there in Seattle now.
I'm surprised. Maybe is he a Penn State guy?
I can't imagine.
I don't think so either.
For the right price, anybody will be the Penn State.
I think he wanted.
So desperate. Right
everyone's got a price for the $1 million man.
He wanted Florida, obviously, and that went to Summerall there. All right, we got to talk about it. I guess maybe it's your show, Bear. Maybe not.
It's not my show.
Saturday night, Duke 7-5 at Virginia. They're 10-2. Virginia favored by only 4 points in this game. We've lost every single money's possible on Duke this year.
Oh no, the answer
you didn't
is
even
no.
want to talk about it.
I got nothing. I'm no. Dead. The D in Duke stands for dead. Dead to me.
Dead to me. I had a chance to go to watch Duke, Florida in basketball on Tuesday night in Cameron, and I just couldn't make it. That would have been fun.
It's a good game.
Yeah, Florida lost by 1, right?
That's where we're at. We're talking about Duke basketball, not Duke football.
Man, Boozer. Miami could have almost had Boozer. Oh,
I'm going to bring this up again. If you're the ACC, you want Virginia to win. So why are we not just parlaying Virginia with something else?
Are you saying the ACC league office is making calls here, Sammy?
I did not say that. You insinuated that. But
you insinuated that by saying Virginia.
Well, now we both insinuated it. I mean, does the committee really want...
Rigging a game for Virginia would be an absolutely hilarious.
I want to be very clear. I am not saying anybody is rigging anything. But if you're the ACC...
You're insinuating it.
Is it still Jim Phillips, the ACC commissioner?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Northwestern legend.
Been very vocal, by the way.
The league office is right in downtown Charlotte.
Supportive.
Downtown Charlotte, yeah. Maybe we'll stop by and see what they're
What a
thinking tomorrow.
debacle the ACC is. What an embarrassment. Like how are your how is your first tiebreaker not like college football playoff ranking or like overall record or something to prevent you from having 7-5 Duke in the ACC championship game?
These conferences are too big. That's the problem.
And you can't get a fair schedule.
Correct.
Because everybody plays different teams. Like
Correct.
you got some conferences with 18 schools.
They need to go like full Big Ten 2020 COVID and just make something up in the middle of the year to get Ohio State and make sure that they were going to be in the conference championship game in the playoff. Played 5 games and like got in. Like,
I have Kenny White's numbers right here. So Virginia obviously is favored in this game. He's got Miami 11 points better than Virginia.
that's what I was going to ask you. What would Miami 11 over Virginia?
He's got
I would take Virginia. I mean, I would take Miami to cover that game.
And what for 15 over Duke?
Yeah, exactly. But let's not put Miami in the ACC title
Unbelievable.
game.
AAC championship game, North Texas, Tulane. The total is super high in this one, nearly 70 here in this matchup. I think it's 68.5. You keep going up and up and up as people continue to bet on the over in this game. Wouldn't surprise me if the over did hit in this one. But any thoughts on this one, guys?
Not really.
I think you could take if you can find the quarterback for North Texas, like just a passing yardage over. I think that's the way that North Texas is going to play. They have to keep up with Tulane. They throw the ball a ton. They play action pass. They're a fun offense to watch. They are weirdly, I think, rated way too high in SP. And
North Texas?
Yeah,
I don't get it either.
They're 16th, I think.
And like the schedule just isn't very strong.
They're 16th in SP. I don't understand. I like Bill, obviously. I haven't asked him about that. Why are they so high? 16th? That feels super high for North Texas.
Speaking of super high, 67.5, guys. Good grief. I mean, one punt inside the 10 and this game's under. One turnover in the red zone at the wrong time. Like that's so many points
high
in a championship game.
What do you make this? What do you make this number, Sammy? Bill has it 8.
I love when you put me on the spot.
Well, you got time to talk. I'm just curious, what would you make this? Because it feels
so 8 on a neutral, which means
yeah.
So you still got you'd make it 5 or so in this game.
Yeah.
Tulane and
I will admit I was surprised to see Tulane was a dog.
Interesting. Yeah. Should be again two coaching staffs that are disappearing after.
But again, you like Summerall's doing it the right way. Like the AD, and they've been total lockstep the entire time. Like
everyone's doing it the right way. These assistants are being hired, right, and they're still allowed to coach. It's just Lane did it so loud and went to a rival. Like it's both of those things are true. Right? He did so loud and went to a school he's recruiting against. Summerall's not recruiting against Tulane anymore, right? He's not recruiting against. He's not going to do those. So I think that,
and I think Tulane can maybe play the way they did that Friday night game. It was Thursday or Friday night game against Memphis last month, like where they really played some good, like complementary football.
Yeah.
A lot of quarterback run.
38-32.
They did a really good job at keeping Memphis off the field for a good portion of the game, and then that got weird in the fourth quarter. But maybe they play a game like that, and that could contribute to your under as well.
I'm 4 on the game.
Okay.
North Texas 4. So
yeah,
nothing crazy.
No, I was curious. All right, Mountain West, UNLV at Boise State. Now these games, unlike a lot of the other ones, the neutral site. These are at the home. Boise 8-4, UNLV 10-2. I know, Sammy, you like a side in this one.
This side stinks to all hell. When these two teams met earlier this year in this building, the number was almost 14. So now there's been a correction, obviously, because UNLV's better than they were at that point. They opened it in Vegas at 1. Boise won 1.5.
Really?
And now we're at 4.5.
Obviously, because people saw 10.
I just don't understand how I don't take the points. I'm in.
Is Dan Mullen a Penn State guy?
That might it could be. I like that.
What does Crumble Cookies think? Honestly, that's what I need to know.
I'm still mad about this. The UNLV's in this game. I had a New Mexico ticket at 16-1 to make the
how they
it's almost
it was a computer thing.
Yeah,
right?
it's like a computer average. Yeah, it was almost as ridiculous as the ACC.
The first conference championship game is going to be Troy at JMU here. JMU obviously a win here
Should be a competitive one.
And a BYU, a win here and a Duke win puts them in the playoff most likely here. 23.5 here, Sammy.
It's my favorite bet.
You want mine too?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Now we're insinuating that I'm putting all my money on JMU, which I'm not, but
Yes, you are.
I've been assured that
That's the insinuation.
I was told, wax that ass.
Oh,
wow.
That's
kids,
what I was told.
Earmuffs, kids.
DAT?
DAT.
Okay.
Yes.
Earmuffs, kids.
D'Anthony Thomas.
Yeah, that's what I
D'Anthony
was told.
Thomas.
No worry about focus. No worry about any of that. They are locked in this game.
And again, this is one of the, I think, the only conference side where you still have divisions. And obviously, Old Dominion is the second best team in this league. And they are in the same division as JMU, which is why Troy, who lost to Old Dominion by 30, I believe it was, is in this game because they're on the other side. Yeah, feels like it's going to be one-way action on the old Dukes here.
Any last thoughts here, guys? We got Miami of Ohio, Western Michigan, that in Ford Field, always noon on Saturday.
No, I'm good. Are you going to tell us who's going to coach Penn State? You keep asking us. Why don't you tell us?
I thought it was
Who's-
going to be Sataki.
I bet on. I mean,
I knew. In full disclosure,
Are you googling Penn State head coach?
No,
I knew they had interviewed
I'm
him
looking what
weeks ago.
What prediction market has.
I was sworn to secrecy. I knew they interviewed him like 3 weeks ago, and I was told you keep it under wraps, and his name hadn't gotten out there. And then it was funny. I think on Sunday, or it might have been Sunday, I'm sitting there after having watching the Jets' awful Falcons game, and sending off a tweet storm on the college football playoff. Like all of a sudden on Kalshi one night, Kalani Sataki, might have been Friday actually, when I was in wherever the hell I was this past week in Ann Arbor, his name popped up on Kalshi finally as a candidate, and I was like, huh.
Oh yeah, I hit it hard.
Huh.
I bet Jeff Brom just a hedge too, and I lost both those. Yeah. Right now, Matt Campbell's the favorite on Kalshi.
No, it's on Kalshi. Dave Mason has Terry Smith favored. Even money.
I think they're going to wind up hiring Smith.
And Kraft is being fired. Absolutely.
Oh, I would imagine that's not.
What a list: Terry Smith, Matt Campbell, Manny Diaz, Brian Dable.
Matt Patricia's on this list here. Joe Brady, Dan Mullen, Kyle Flood, who I think is like the O-line coach at A&M, right? I think Texas.
Willie Fritz isn't.
Morgan Scalley's on this list. He might be the head coach at Utah in a couple of days, I would imagine.
Willie Fritz would be a great idea.
25-1. Willie Fritz.
Willie Fritz.
We're seeing coaches retire.
Speak it. Just speak it into existence, Bear.
That would be a good one.
Mike Gundy, 1%.
No.
0%.
0% chance. All right. Let's talk best bets. We'll do that in a few minutes. We're back. Time for our best bets here to wrap the show. Before we get to that, though, congratulations to Bear on the contest finished this year. I believe it ended up being eighth.
Yeah,
eighth.
I finished eighth.
And I finished 39th. I was pretty pleased with myself.
39 is good.
I didn't win any money, but I finished 39th. I'll take it.
People.
Yeah, I'll take 39th. But no money for me, Bear. Did your check arrive yet? Like, how does it work?
No,
get the big one.
I think I'm going to get the big one next week at the Hall of Fame dinner when I go out to Vegas for the Urban Meyer getting inducted in the College Football Hall of Fame. So I'm going to head out there. It'll be funny. I might have to go hit up Mr. Murray at the Westgate Superbook. Give me one of those big checks for.
That'd be really great.
Well, I wish it was another zero on the back end of that, but yeah, I'm happy. Look. Whatever I was, I credit to the people that wound up winning and finishing ahead of me. So, but yeah, to beat all but 8 people and nearly 1,100, pretty damn good year. And hopefully the records reflected that. The picks we've been giving them out on Twitter too.
It's a wild accomplishment to do that well, especially when like the winner of this contest was like 70%, which is like it's the fun. 65, 31, and 2. Was the champion. 66 points.
Yeah, you're basically 70%.
Yeah. Wow.
It's insane. Hell of a job by them.
Good for them. So good for Bear getting in the money there with that big check. Let's get to best bets then. What do you got for this week? Obviously a smaller slate here.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time with a lot of these conference championship games. I know the recent trends last couple of years, you've had underdogs win outright in 11 of the 19. So a lot of short dogs this week too. A lot of short dogs have been winning conference title games lately. If you go back and look in the history of conference title games, favorites of 3 points or fewer are 14-24 straight up and 3-11 the last 5 years. So a lot of short dogs in the money line potentially take. I am not going to take one of them as my best bet here. I laid the 3.5 with Ohio State. I'd lay the 4 with the Buckeyes. I just think they are better than Indiana. And the bet that I really like the most, I talked about it earlier in the show, talked about it with close to the Mario Cristobal injury, Miami to make the college football playoff at plus 425 or the best number that you can find. I think ultimately if BYU does lose that game to Texas Tech, like many people think they do, I think that draws Miami and Notre Dame side by side. And ultimately, it will be too obvious to everybody in that room that the head-to-head ultimately is going to win the day, and Miami will sneak in. So if you want a little bit of a hedge on that, you could bet BYU on the money line in Texas Tech, because if BYU were to win, they're going to get in, and then Miami won't. So one or the other, I think, will happen.
I know people want to bet the big games, and I understand it. I almost got to Georgia, but not yet. Maybe I'll get there. I did do some Georgia and Philadelphia Eagles parlays. Money line. I'm calling it the Jalen Carter parlay. I think that's a winner, but it did not make my cut.
Kobe Dean takes offense to that.
You could really go a couple different ways with that one. I got 2 Friday games. James Madison is going to smoke Troy. The number's 23 now. I think it's going to close 24, and this could be 42-10. I also like UNLV plus the 4.5. And ask, and you shall receive.
FCS.
Matoy Pearson is banging the table for Mercer against South Dakota.
They let me down last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was.
Yeah, but they played Auburn. Now they're playing South Dakota. It's different.
All right, fine. I'll make the bet, Sammy.
Well, it doesn't take much to get you to jump. Yeah, 5.5. We're laying that with Mercer.
I love it so much. I'm going to find this Mercer number right here. There it is right there. Okay, my 2 for the week. I mentioned earlier, I think the first half of Ohio State, Indiana is going to be pretty low scoring. It's the best defense both teams have played, maybe the season, but for a long time. And both teams this year, when they play better teams, it takes a little time offensively to sort of figure out the rhythm of the game. There's going to be a lot of energy in that building, right? Indiana's not been this spot before. Ohio State hasn't been here in a couple of years. And so I just think we're going to have a lower scoring game to start. It might get a little bit bigger later, but teams filling each other out here. And then I like BYU's quarterback here over rush attempts. You can actually find a 10.5 now. If you think about the way BYU, I think, has to play in this game, first of all, they're going to have to get the ball out quickly, but also find ways to run with the quarterback, right? Because of the pressure that Tech brings. Also, remember, sacks count as rush attempts. So if Texas Tech is able to sack the quarterback like they did the first game, I think he's going to be running for his life. They're going to also have quarterback runs. They're going to have to find ways to move the ball quickly, running the football. I think BYU will have to do this here. So those are my 2 for the game.
Hopefully that will result in some wins for you, the better at home. Not a large card, but hopefully a couple of narrow plays there that we'll get home. So appreciate Mario Cristobal for joining us. Thank you again to everybody out there for watching. Rate, review, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We will be back next week. College football preview, college football playoff preview, review, whatever else. For Sammy, for Geoff, I'm Bear. Less you bet, more you lose when you win.